Understand, if we want to meet the challenges of this moment, we're going to have to set aside the old ideological debates, the divisions between left and right, the old arguments that date back to the 60s. We don't need bigger government or smaller government. That's the old argument. We need better government, smarter government, more competent government, a government that fights for you. That's what we need. When it comes to jobs, the choice in this election is not between putting up a wall around America or standing by and doing nothing. The truth is, we won't be able to bring back every job that we've lost. But that doesn't mean we should follow John McCain's plan to do nothing, to keep promoting unfair trade agreements or give tax breaks to companies that ship jobs overseas. I will end those tax breaks to companies that ship jobs overseas. I'm going to give those tax breaks to companies that invest right here in the United States of America. We will create 2 million new jobs, rebuilding crumbling roads and bridges and schools. We'll invest $15 billion a year in renewable sources of energy, in wind and solar power, in the next generation of biofuels. We'll invest in clean coal technology, safely harness nuclear power. We'll create 5 million new energy jobs over the next decade, jobs that pay well and can't be outsourced. We will build the fuel-efficient cars of tomorrow, not in Japan, not in South Korea, but right here in the United States of America. When it comes to health care, we don't have to choose between a government-run health care system and the unaffordable one we have now. If you've already got health insurance, the only thing that will change under my plan is that we're going to lower your premiums. If like 45 million Americans, you don't have health care, then we are going to let you get the same kind of health care that members of Congress give themselves. We'll put more money into prevention and information technologies to drive down costs for everybody. And as somebody who watched his own mother spend the final months of her life arguing with insurance companies because they claimed her cancer was a pre-existing condition and said, we don't want to pay, I will stop insurance companies from discriminating against those who are sick and need care the most. That's the change we need. That's why I'm running for President of the United States of America. When it comes to giving every child a world-class education, we don't have to choose between money and reform. Our schools need both. That's why, as president, I'll invest in early childhood education. We are gonna recruit an army of new teachers, give all our teachers higher salaries, give them more support, raise standards, increase accountability. And I will make a deal with every young person in America. If you are willing to invest in national service, serve in our armed forces, serve in the Peace Corps, work in a veteran's home or a homeless shelter, whatever your choice of national service, I promise you that we will make sure you can afford to pay your tuition, no ifs, ands, or buts. We're going to make sure you get the education you need. And when it comes to keeping this country safe, we don't have to choose between retreating from the world and fighting a war without end in Iraq. It is time to stop spending $10 billion a month in Iraq while the Iraqi government sits on a surplus. As president, I will end this war. I will ask the Iraqi government to step up for their future. I will finish the fight against bin Laden and al-Qaeda, those who attacked us on 9/11. I will never hesitate to defend this nation, and I will make sure our servicemen and women have the best training, the best equipment when they deploy into combat, and the care and the benefits they have earned when they come home. That's what we owe our veterans. That's what I'll do as President of the United States. Now, Florida, I won't pretend that any of this is going to be easy, especially now. Yeah, George Bush dug us a deep hole. Now he's trying to hand off the shovel to John McCain. The costs of this economic crisis, the cost of the war, means that Washington is going to have to tighten its belt, just like families and businesses are having to tighten their belts. We're going to have to put off spending on things we don't need. As president, I'm going to go through the federal budget line by line, ending programs we don't need, making the ones that we do need work better and cost less. But as I've said, from the day we began this journey, the change we need won't come from government alone. It will come from each of us doing our part in our own lives, our own communities. Each of us looking after ourselves and our families, but also our fellow citizens. Look, government has to lead the way on energy independence, but everybody here can do their part to make their homes and businesses more energy efficient. That will make a difference. We can put more money into our schools, but government can't be the parent who turns off the TV set and makes sure your child does their homework. That's your job. We need a return to responsibility and a return to civility. So yes, we can argue about our positions passionately, but all of us have to summon the strength and the grace, the humor to bridge our differences, to unite in common effort. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Democrat, Republican, young, old, rich, poor, gay, straight, disabled, not disabled, all of us have to come together. We can't afford the same political games, the same tactics that pit us against one another, that make us afraid of one another. Despite what our opponents may claim, there are no real or fake parts of this country. There's no city or town that's more pro-America than anywhere else. We are one nation, all of us proud, all of us patriots. The men and women who serve on our battlefield, some are Democrats, some Republicans, but they fought together and bled together. Some died together under the same proud flag. They have not served a red America or a blue America, they've served the United States of America. It won't be easy, Florida. It won't be quick. But you and I know it's time to come together. It's time to change this country. Some of you may be cynical. Some of you may be fed up with politics. You have every right to be. But despite all of this, I ask of you what's been asked of Americans throughout our history. I ask you to believe. Believe not just in my ability to bring about change, but believe in yours. I know this change is possible because I've seen it. In this campaign, I've had the privilege of seeing what is best in America. I've seen it in the faces of the men and women I've met at countless rallies and town halls across the country. Men and women who speak of their struggles, but also of their hopes and their dreams. You know, I remember we had a rally in Fort Lauderdale, and a few days after the rally, I got an email from a woman named Robin who had gone to this rally. Sometime after the event, her son, who was in high school, nearly went into cardiac arrest, was diagnosed with a heart condition that could only be treated with a procedure that cost tens of thousands of dollars. Her insurance company refused to pay. The family didn't have that kind of money. So Robin wrote me an email, and she said this. She said, I ask only this of you. On the days where you feel so tired, you can't think of uttering another word to the people. Think of us. When those who oppose you have you down, reach deep and fight back harder. Florida, that's what hope's all about. That's what kept some of our grandparents and parents going when times were tough. Hope. That's what led them to say, maybe I can't go to college, but if I save a little bit each week, my child can go to college. Maybe I can't have my own business, but if I work really hard, maybe my child can have one of her own. It's what led those who could not vote to say, if I march, if I organize, maybe my child or grandchild can run for president someday. That's what hope is. That's the thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that there are better days ahead. If we're willing to work for it, if we're willing to shed our fears, if we're willing to reach deep inside ourselves when we're tired, when we're discouraged, and come back and fight back harder.